What's up, guys? It's episode 20 of the DCXP podcast. I am Mike, as always, joined by Joe and Savannah. What's up, guys? Our podcast 20.
Woo! I feel like I haven't seen you guys in so long. What's new? What's up?
Nothing crazy. Just fresh off a brunch, just ready to ease into this podcast. Feeling really good.
Timestamp Saturday, so that's why Joe's out to brunch. And also, I was gonna say that. What was I gonna say? Shoot, I forgot. But nothing. Oh, I just spent over $1,000 on car repairs. So if anybody knows how to, I was doing some serious adulting this week, where you just go to the dealership and they tell you. The way they do it now. It depends where you go. Is like you send them you get your oil change and they do the multi-point inspection. And they say it's going to take an hour. So I just walk up and down the street for like an hour, listen to a podcast. And
which podcast?
DCXP episode 19.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure you were doing the right thing.
So I finally get a text from the dealership with a link to a site that's basically, it shows you what they did. And it's stuff in green saying like it's good to go, and then the stuff that's in quote unquote like critical condition needs like immediate care. And it was like 7 things, and it just says approve or decline, and then it tells you the price. So it's like a shopping cart. Every time I approved it, my total would go up, and then at the end I looked at it and I was like, damn. And so I had to go back to the dealership and I'm like, yeah, is this all needed? He's like, yep. I'm like,
you have to do this.
I was like, damn. And then the other thing was like tires. And I was like, it was like extra $500 for new tires. And I go, does this actually need to be done today? And he's like, nah, you can wait. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting. Because my bank account already, I literally had just paid rent. Be careful.
It's not, it's not the best time to have nubby tires out there. It's a little icy out there. Even in LA, it might get a little icy, right?
No, I don't think I got to worry about that. It's like,
okay.
It doesn't really dip below 50.
Tough day today. Yeah, hopefully you're not driving over there, Savannah.
Well, you know what? I was just going to say, I also was adulting this past week. I moved into a new apartment, so I'm back in the district. Thank God. So I feel so much better. I finally have furniture. That was the delay. I didn't want to sit on my floor and do this podcast. So
yeah, welcome back home.
Thank you.
That's always the weird feeling, because you don't sound echoey. I know you were asking before, but is it echoey in there? Like, can you?
Oh, big time. Like, I do radio for like my actual job, and my boss texted me. He's like, "Did you move locations? It sounds like you're in like a big empty room." I was like, "Oh, funny you mentioned that. I moved, so I am in a big empty room."
I am in a big empty room. That's.
He's like, okay.
So Savannah's no longer in the Pittsburgh area. She is back.
But my heart will always be in the Pittsburgh area.
Heart remains.
And your heart, your heart is also now dedicated to hoping Dwayne Haskins is your future quarterback.
Oh wow, I totally forgot.
Did we? I don't even know if we mentioned that in the last podcast, but I have to mention it now.
We'll get there. I feel like I
was
there for the bad. I hope I can be there for the good.
Oh.
And I hope he never listens to any of the episodes of the podcast where I said how bad he sucks.
Oh yeah, we were killing him this year. He didn't learn a thing though. I mean, he took his Twitter off private right after he signed, and then he changed his location to Littsburgh, and just immediately started popping off all these tweets. It's just like, Groundhog Day. The guy doesn't know, but he doesn't get it. But hey, maybe he'll just figure it out. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean,
well, a lot of athletes get that label. It's like, I hope he figures it out. Most likely not, but
Littsburgh, come on, man.
Well, they got some.
That's cringe.
I wonder what happens with Big Ben, because he's owed a lot of money, and I don't know how they're gonna deal with that situation. But okay, so first things first, before we get to anything Washington related, the Super Bowl happened, and Tom Brady won his 7th championship. It's called Tampa Bay, whatever trademark you want to use there. where did y'all watch the Super Bowl if you watched it?
I was with some old coworkers and we were like half watching, half like chit chatting. So, and that's the perfect way to watch that game. I was like, oh, I paid enough attention.
Yeah, if your team's not in it and you're just a casual fan, like I had to watch it for my job, but I mean, it's one of those things where I would rather have watched it with a group of people and been able to have like, because I had to watch it and my roommate kind of didn't let me know that he was going to his girlfriend's to work. So I just kind of walked out to an empty living room and was like, guess this is my setup, just chilling by myself in my apartment. So yeah, that was overall, I don't think the game was great. The Chiefs got pretty dominated, but I don't know. I found myself rooting for. I mean, Joe knows this. I don't know. Joe still hates Tom Brady and the Patriots, but I hated the Patriots because all our family's from there, and they would let us know how much better they are than the Redskins at the time. And I hated Tom Brady, and then I found myself rooting for like him to win more championships. I don't know.
I've been rooting for him hard for like the last 5 years. I mean, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. It was, I'm not surprised. I wasn't surprised at all. Sorry, Savannah.
No, I was going to say, I know how much I always say I hate Tampa or Tom Brady, but my dad, I want to show you guys such a cute little baby picture of me. So he's
You're not
Buccaneers
a cute baby,
fan.
Savannah. You hate kids. You can't call yourself cute.
I hate kids. Do you see this face? How cute she is.
Is that Mike Allstott's jersey there? Yeah, that's good.
That's funny.
So my dad's been a Buccaneers fan forever. So he was so excited to watch his team finally win because he's not a Steelers fan at all. So I rooted against my best judgment. I rooted for Tom Brady to win just so my dad would have that moment. So it was cool. He was so excited.
Mike Allstott brings back one memory for me, and that is not making it in the end zone against the Redskins that one time. Clear as day. Like, he was down, and even after the challenge,
that was, what, 15 years ago, Mike?
Yeah, it was 15 years ago. Hey, then we beat him in the playoffs. We beat him in the playoffs, so I didn't really care, I guess, at that point. But yeah, I still remember Mike Allstott being down. Like, how do they call that? I think it was a 2-point conversion. I'm not sure. But yeah,
doesn't matter. I watched it with the fam. That was fun. They were all saying we need to do this, we need to do that, because Brady was on the Bucs because they're Patriots fans, and it's like, guys, you can't just call yourselves we. It's not fair. But they'll claim that Super Bowl championship a W for them as well. So that's always fun.
I mean, it's crazy because he threw 2 touchdowns to Gronk. Their audio after the game that I heard on Grant and Danny that they use as kind of a soundboard machine bit where he's like, 2 tutties. He's talking to Gronk, and it's just like they look like just 2 bros on the field. It's really funny. Yeah. And then I want to ask before we get to the celebration of Tom Brady finding his sea legs. What did you have a favorite commercial if you paid attention during those?
The T-Mobile Brady Gronk commercial. It's probably my favorite.
Well, that was put out before the Super Bowl, right?
Was it?
Did you see the bloopers for that? It was the commercial. I don't know if Savannah saw it. Did you see it, Savannah?
Yeah, I saw that commercial.
So then there's the bloopers for it, which are really funny, where they're trying to figure out their lines, and Gronk ad libs and says that should be the end of the commercial. It's on Gronk's Twitter, I think, but I was gonna say that one wasn't an actual Super Bowl commercial during the game.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Then I don't know. I mean,
well, I was gonna say the State Farm.
I was chit-chatting as well, so I don't know.
I mean, I wasn't paying crazy attention to the commercials. I didn't know if somebody saw one that I didn't, but the State Farm with Drake from State Farm, that was
that was a good one. That was a good one.
That was great.
Drake has such good I think he has pretty good acting chops. He's just funny. He just
I mean, he was an actor, right? So.
Yeah, he was an actor. He was in Degrassi. He got shot and he was in a wheelchair. But I love how people make fun of him for that. He was on Degrassi and he was the guy who got paralyzed, and then he just becomes one of the best musical artists of all time. That's what happened. But I just like when he goes I'm Drake from State Farm. And then he just stand-ins don't have lines. He's like, oh, okay. And then they have. I want to know if they were actually all together. It was Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Drake, and then Jake from State Farm. That's a loaded set.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then they had the party.
Oh wait, we have one more thing we have to discuss.
Yes.
What did you think about the Weeknd's halftime show?
Oh, I liked it.
I did not. I thought it was so. I don't mind the Weeknd. Like, I know his main hits. I don't actively listen to the Weeknd though.
Same.
What are you looking for in a halftime show?
I don't know.
I want explosions. I want fireworks. I want dancers. I want somebody doing the most. And the Weeknd stood there, went like this a few times. It was there we go. I spent $8 on that.
Okay. No, I liked it.
No,
I thought
the thing is, it was
well.
bad to me. It was bad, especially with that weird tunnel music video vibe he was going for. It just was weird. And then the I call it the TikTok song, the Blinding Lights song, kind of saved the show because it was a big spectacle. I would say it brought it to like a little below average for me when it evened out.
Oh, all right.
But it was he wasn't doing anything. I mean, he has a great voice, but I just don't. I was
last year Shakira and J-Lo put on such a performance. They were dancing, they were singing, they were entertaining, and I was like, that is a halftime show.
I mean, they made people complain.
Yeah.
That they were showing too much.
I want that. I want that out of a halftime performance. I want somebody to be upset about how much was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it.
I didn't have big expectations because it was a COVID performance to me. It was like you can't have like a crowd. You can't really do a lot of
seems like a lot of people for a halftime show. Seems like he had like 400 dancers, but
and he had 400 dancers and not one of them could do the TikTok dance. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That was a missed opportunity.
I don't know. Yeah, no.
I'm pissed.
I guess it was a little bit disappointing if you think about all the money that was probably put into it.
Yeah,
he put in like $8 million of his own dollars to put the performance on. And I'm just not sure what he spent the money on.
Yeah.
Well, the best thing that came out of that, honestly, was the Joe, I don't know, I think who sent me this? Jack, our brother-in-law, sent me this. I don't know if he sent you this, Joe. The vid is it's the vid of the Weeknd like doing the shaky cam in the gold, and then it's a dub over of the Joker from Batman doing his like little speech like on shaky cam, and it's so good. It's like the best video meme, I guess, if you want to call it that, of all time. It's like they're all gonna lose their minds, like that, like that speech that he gives in The Dark Knight. It's great. If you haven't seen it, I would suggest looking it up. But then the boat parade happened, and it was just chaos. It was Tom Brady throwing the Lombardi Trophy. Oh, I got to back up. The Patriots put out 2 amazing tweets when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won. First tweet, just a text tweet, nothing else. Just said, congratulations to the greatest of all time, which got a ton of engagement. And then they replied to their own tweet that said, oh, and Gronk, be careful with the trophy, because Gronk dented the trophy that one time with a baseball, which, I mean, just 2 great tweets. But then basically that leads up to the fact that Tom threw the Lombardi across water with his daughter in the background. You can hear going, no, daddy, no. And then I think Cameron Brate's the one who caught it, who also said, if I did not catch that, I'd probably have to retire. And Gronk shirtless doing his dance. I think Chris Godwin lost his phone. Scotty Miller, I think, dropped his phone in the water. Just great stuff. But I will say nothing, and I repeat, nothing can top what the Washington Capitals did with their time with the Cup. They actually got told you can't party like that because you dented the Stanley Cup, or you made it like indent at the top because they did so many keg stands on it.
Yeah. That's ideal. It's an ideal situation if you're going to win the Cup.
Yeah, I think the NHL just doesn't want them to win again because they saw what Ovi did with the Cup. They were like, we can't let that happen again. Conspiracy.
I'm starting a petition that every championship parade has to be a boat parade. I don't care where you are. Everyone, I don't care if you're on like a lake, a river, wherever, you have to have a boat parade.
Yeah. You need to
the Brady to bring that up toss.
It was so good.
Savannah, you need to bring that boat parade up idea to whoever runs parade stuff for DC, because you could do that on the Potomac.
That's what I'm saying.
And you could line the
Can
side.
we back up for a second, guys? Can I throw out an idea to you? And since we've been dealing with, like, you know, some of this reality TV drama going on, I figured I'd pitch my idea on what they should do with the Pro Bowl celebration. So I don't know. I didn't watch the Pro Bowl. I didn't celebration or whatever it was.
It was a Madden game, which was actually kind of entertaining. It was
what
like
they should do. Okay, I don't care what they did because it doesn't matter. What they should have done is, from here on out, have them sign waivers. Every Pro Bowler signs a waiver. You fly them out to a island, kind of like Hawaii, like they've been doing, but maybe another island. And you get like a big old 15,000 square foot mansion, and you have a reality show for a weekend, and you mic them all up. And you say, which one of you guys wants to go have some fun for a weekend? And you send them all out there, and you.
That is $1 million idea.
And the other thing you can do is you can fly in the NFL legends, because sometimes they used to have like we'll do the flag football with the NFL legends, and like we'll do the competitions, and you fly in those guys. That could be a whole spectacle. It could be like a night out with the legends and the NFL stars, and you can do a bunch of stuff with that, man. It'd be really cool, close access. If anybody wants to contact me, I've got a bunch of other ideas about this.
What they just need to do. I was gonna say what they need to do is just bring back the old stuff they used to do.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Imagine like all their wives or girlfriends go with them, and you just create a big drama filled weekend, reality TV.
So you're just basically like the what's that show? Basketball Wives.
Oh, Wags, Wives and Girlfriends. Yeah.
That show's crazy. I forgot, like, I'm not going to give details because it's kind of like, just a little weird for this podcast, but there's the I forgot about this. Doug Christie used to play for the Kings. He has a bit of a I don't want to call her crazy because I know it's mean, but it's just like she was a little wild with how she kept him in check. Let's just say that. Okay. To see if he ever cheated on her. It's just a weird way she kept him in check, and her theory. And like they did an interview with another, I think it was Shaq's wife at the time, and she's like, "Yeah, she's a little weird. I would never do that to my husband." it was wild. Just look up Doug Christie's wife if you want. It's funny.
Oh, big time.
Okay. Well, so Super Bowl done. Brady, how many beers do you think Brady actually drank? Do you think he was like, you think he had 3? Yeah. People are saying because he's so like strict with his diet and his body that he probably doesn't drink that often, and then he has like 3 beers and he's done.
Yeah. I mean, the video of him walking with the guy holding his shoulders up, holding him and walking him, and he's just like kind of just got the limp arms going. That's a look that we've all been there. We've all been there. But yeah,
I've definitely been the guy holding the shoulders for sure. I've definitely been the friend helping either a guy or a girl, being like, "Yeah, you have had too much to drink."
I don't think I've ever been the friend. I think
I hate being the friend, so I'm always the guy. I'm more likely to be that guy without the legs under me, for sure.
I just like the
I just don't want to be that guy holding the other guy up. So
I just like
I'm willing to get blackout so I don't have to be that guy.
I like the fake lead ups that were written about like what happened beforehand. It was like I threw mine in the ring. It was like, hey, Gronk probably said, "Hey, you want to do 7 shots for 7 rings?" And Brady like just slams him down and then goes, and then it's like 2 minutes later, and then it's just him.
Yeah. Dude, Brady, oh man, how far is he gonna go? Like, could he play to 50?
He wants to play to 45, and he doesn't look 43. So
unbelievable.
I mean, I was watching his they were showing like an older game, like back the 2000, the Super Bowl he was in 2000. I think the Giants won, the second Giants won, 2011. So basically 10 years ago, and he looks the same. Like, first of all, just biologically speaking, the guy doesn't age. I don't know if you've seen the picture of it was like, it's a graphic for something about 40-plus-year-old quarterbacks, and it's him and George Blanda from like the 70s. And George Blanda at 43 years old looked like he was 75.
Yeah, no, guys just looked way older back then. I used to say this about like middle school too. Like when you used to see people in the yearbook and like fourth grade and the eighth graders had like beards, and you're just like, why are these guys so old? And then you're in eighth grade and it's like, I don't look anything like the guys who had beards like 5 years ago. So I don't know what happened, but I think recently people are younger when they're older. It's
to
like
this
weird.
day, I think of when I was like in 5th grade, and I would see the 8th graders, and I looked at them like they were seniors in high school. Like they were like so much older. And then I was in 8th grade, and I'm like, yeah, I don't feel any different. And then, or you feel different in the fact that you feel like you run the school, and then you become a freshman, and then you feel like small again. And you look at seniors, and they look like 25-year-olds. And then I got to be a senior, and I was like, I don't feel any different. I don't know if it's because I couldn't grow facial hair, or I just felt very. It was weird because we went to O'Connell, and like we had to wear uniforms, and seniors wore white polos, so you're a senior. Everybody else wore blue ones, and so if people treated you like royalty if they somehow accidentally messed up though. Like I remember getting bumped into just by some freshman, because he's a freshman because of his backpack, the freshman backpack, just knocks by accident, and he goes, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Dude, you're fine." I was like, "I'm not one of those."
Yeah, it's always good to be like the nice senior that's like giving fist bumps to like the freshmen who that like want to be like. It's always fun when you get the white polo.
It's not like when I was hanging out my locker freshman year outside of homeroom at like 7.
Like so long.
I was 7:30 in the morning, freshman hanging outside of homeroom. Some senior just comes up to me, and let's just say he thinks it's funny to hit me in a place that I don't like getting hit, and he runs away. And I was like, bro, I was so tired that it almost didn't hurt. I was like, oh, that's gonna hurt in about 10 seconds. What? I'm just saying that senior existed. I'm not that senior. I will say
this senior's kind of funny.
I'm just okay.
He actually knew my sister. My sister was like,
they made seniors wear white shirts, and everyone else wore blue shirts.
Yes.
Right.
Polos, like during like warmer weather.
Is there a reason for that? Like, was it
I can't remember, Joe. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but our quote unquote winter uniform, I don't remember if there was like a color distinction there. Oh, I think seniors were allowed to wear their like class sweatshirts instead of like a blazer or whatever the hell we had to wear.
A senior class sweatshirt. It's like class of whatever on the back with like the OC logo on the front or something.
What was I? I don't know. I was our theme was like a perfect 10.
Oh,
I think Leah's was 07.
It's a weird thing if you think about it, but I actually like that better than having to think of something to wear every day. I feel like.
Oh, I love a uniform. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. It's just weird that they were like, seniors, you guys are allowed to wear the white shirts, but everyone else has to wear blue shirts. That everyone thinks that you're.
Well, also it's easier to see dirt on them.
The staff was nicer. The staff was just cooler to seniors, and like.
Feels like this club. Like, just wait, you'll get in. Don't worry.
No, honestly,
the seniors could sit in the courtyard and eat lunch, and like I used to leave and get lunch somewhere else all the time. With the football coach actually used to take us to like off campus lunch.
We didn't get that affordability.
It was pretty sweet.
That school changed drastically after I left.
Yeah, now it's like getting into the CIA building or something. You gotta.
Wait, why were we just talking about that? How do we get?
I don't know. We went down to this rabbit hole because Brady
looks like a child in comparison to old people.
Oh yeah, you said okay. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, so basically,
we're spending way too much time on this. We should.
Yeah, we'll get to it. I'm just saying when we were seniors, nothing changed, and then when you become a freshman in college. Seniors in college felt like they were 45.
Yeah.
Anyway, so okay, let's get to Washington football stuff. Okay, so important thing. So I have this trading card.
Yeah.
It's a trading card. It says on the back. It says what does it say? Card Series Part 1. It's Terry McLaurin. It's just like a funky kind of setup there. I just kind of was feeling weird, and we want to give them away. We have 100 of them. Most of them will come in this case. We're just waiting on a reply from a bigger account that would help give them away. So once that happens, you'll see all the details you need to know. We're giving them away. It's gonna require you to follow us on Instagram, most likely. But outside of that, that's all I can say. I don't know if there's anything else I can really say on that matter. But we're waiting on somebody to really help. The other thing, if you're not following us on the gram at DC Sports XP, our YouTube is officially, drum roll, youtube.com/DC Sports XP. It's finally changed.
Woo!
Woo! Yeah. So no more bugging about it. Still subscribe, like the videos. Okay, I found out that apparently likes are better than subscriptions. They say subscriptions are worthless.
Well, but to our subscribers, we appreciate you.
Yeah, but still subscribe.
Well, yeah, stay subscribed.
DC Sports XP on all things except Facebook. Nice. Don't hold your breath with Facebook. That's probably never going to happen. So, what else?
Cool, man.
Anything else with that? Yeah, we're approaching. The thing is, we're approaching 10K, and I've said this before. I don't care about I'll physically say thank you to people who follow. I think that's more personal than me just putting out a thanks for 5,000 follower post. That's just bragging that we have 5,000 followers. Let's be real. So I have an idea in motion for 10,000 if we ever get there. That I saw somebody else do. It's just a cool piece of content that shows kind of the journey to 10,000 and weird, fun stuff that's happened along the way. It's a piece of content that will take me probably a day to do. So I'm waiting until we actually hit that number and then I get a start on it. But anyway, so now we can get to actual stuff. So the giveaway, okay. So the Super Bowl happened. There was also awards that happened the night before at the NFL Honors. No surprise, Chase Young won Defensive Rookie of the Year. That was pretty... But also, it was probably given away by the fact that he was flying to LA. I didn't realize that they were all there, and they already knew they all won. So they all had their speeches, and I'm like, oh, that's why he flew to LA. I just thought he was flying to LA to fly to LA because he works out there. But and then Alex Smith, that was the biggest lock of all time, except for one person who voted for Big Ben. Savannah, who was it?
Okay, so fun fact, nobody from Pittsburgh has a vote for the NFL honor. So nobody from Pittsburgh voted for Big Ben. So don't trash my city.
Yeah, don't trash our city. Dude, honestly, though, his first 11 weeks were MVP level, right? So
it doesn't matter. Right. It does not matter.
I know, but...
I know what people's argument is, but
he's
argument...
40, so it's kind of crazy. I mean...
Alex Smith almost died.
It
doesn't matter. It's just
in another year, Big Ben totally deserves it. But when you put him up against Alex Smith, it's no contest.
Yeah, that's a tough.
And the thing is, they had a whole video montage. I think it was narrated by Joe Theismann, which was pretty cool. They already had that made and stuff. They knew he was going to win. It's not like they were you just won because you got 35 of the votes or something like that. Okay, so the awards happened. Taylor Heinicke signed an extension, or not an extension, I guess technically a new deal. So 2 years,
love it,
$8.75 million, heavily incentive laden. He just seems like I just listened to his interviews on the radio, and he seems like he's just ready to compete wherever. I think he knows what's coming. I think they're going to get a quarterback that's better than him.
He's a smart guy.
But he knows, hey, I did enough to earn a roster spot, which I think we all said he did. Kyle Allen's probably going to be back too. I think Alex Smith's going to get either cut or restructured or retire or something. So they're going to have, I think, 3 quarterbacks in the room, depending on what they do. At the other one,
they should.
So what do we have any thoughts on Taylor Heinicke besides it was kind of clear they were going to?
They should create an award for guys like Taylor Heinicke, guys that come in and. Sorry, you guys getting that? Yeah. On the headphone.
A little static?
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Okay. I was gonna say they should create an award for guys that like come in and like perform like 2 games at a high level and like get their team in the playoffs or whatever.
What award?
I don't
What
know.
award would that be?
I don't know. Guys like that just ball out short notice. Like
The
maybe like someone
Heinicke
who's
Award.
yeah
And
the
maybe
Heinicke Award. That should
Um,
be the award. But yeah, no, he played great. I'm really happy that they re-signed him. Obviously, could start next year if they don't pull anybody in.
that's interesting. I don't know. People are saying they're just gonna like strike out and on everything and just be like, you know what, we'll go in. I just think it's this year's too precious to just either waste with a rookie that you don't know is going to be good and be like, okay, hopefully he just develops, but we still waste this defense another year. And these guys, you have to extend John Allen, which is probably going to happen. And then the other guys get closer to their deals too. So I don't know. I'm in the camp of get somebody good. We know they tried to get Matt Stafford, which the last podcast we were going over all the guys who were available. And I kind of threw in, I remember re-listening and I said, yeah, Jared Goff might get traded. Well, Jared Goff got traded for Matt Stafford. So that was kind of wild. They didn't even get a first round pick this year. They took the Rams just don't care about first round draft picks. They clearly value them as we're going to improve our team now and not because the draft's a crapshoot. So Stafford deal. And now just there's so many more names that are being thrown out there. Russell Wilson apparently has some issues in Seattle. Derek Carr, Sam Darnold, Deshaun Watson still is in flux. I know the GM came out or somebody came out, the owner came out and said, no, he's going to be we want him to be. I'm like, yeah, well, I've seen that quote before, and then they're traded. So, and then Carson Wentz, they're trying to find a market. There was a report that he was going to get dealt to Chicago, and that I guess never really happened. I don't know. What do we think of all these names and the reports? And I've made a jersey swap for I think every single one of them. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, my big thing is if you're gonna go out and get somebody, get one of get Deshaun Watson, get Dak, get somebody like that, and I'm all in on that. Spend as whatever you have to besides Chase Young to get those guys. Like, sure. Everyone else, I don't know how in I am. Like, I don't want Sam Darnold. I don't, there might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm not shelling out for him. Like, oh, cool, we fixed it. Now we have Sam Darnold as our starting QB.
Right.
Either get one of the big guys that you know is going to come here, ball out, and that's our franchise QB.
Yeah.
Draft somebody and then work with, and then make it a QB competition at training camp. Unless you're balling out for a QB, I'm not let's just get anybody on the market because they're available. There's definitely some tiers here, and Sam Darnold's not it. Carson Wentz, not it. I can give you a whole list of people that are not it.
Yeah.
I'd give it's all value dependent. I think somebody put out a poll or something where it was okay, it was kind of the question I asked last podcast where it was Dak for $40 million, Sam Darnold for a third, Derek Carr for a first. Which, sorry, I think Derek Carr is a very decent quarterback. He's not worth a first, let alone 2 first rounders. Also, people were saying that the Raiders would then, if the Raiders got 2 firsts for Derek Carr somehow, they just then flip those first for Deshaun Watson. I'm I would never trade you a first knowing that you're getting the quarterback that I really want. That's
no. I think Washington really likes Mariota though, his backup. So it seems like they're good at getting the best bang for their buck out of quarterbacks. So if they like Mariota and they want to pay him really cheap money to start next year,
I'd rather trade a third for Sam Darnold than Mariota. We know what Mariota is. Sam Darnold was in a horrible situation.
I think I actually like Mariota. I think he's a better option.
I like him because he's mobile. I like him because he's mobile, but he's not very accurate, and I don't know. Like I was saying though with Sam Darnold is that for example, Josh Rosen went for a second-round pick. At the time, I would have traded a second-round pick for Josh Rosen at the time. But Sam Darnold has shown more than Josh Rosen has. And it's not even close. I feel like Sam Darnold in a situation, I realized I was the first person to curse on the podcast.
If he's going for a third, then maybe. But I mean,
yeah, that's the
I
thing.
like a
It's
guy.
like
I mean, in today's league, it's like it seems like you just need somebody who can run too, and it's like okay,
Sam Darnold
Mariota
can run. Did you not see Sam Darnold's run on Thursday
No,
Night
I know he
Football?
can run. I know he can run,
Looked
but he
like Mike
also
Vick.
gets sacked a lot. He gets sacked a lot.
Well,
So I don't know.
because he plays with the Jets.
Yeah.
Here's Joe. I find this appalling because Joe was the one who, when Sam Darnold was coming out of high school, Joe's like, dude, he got the YouTube on the TV. He's like, dude, you have to watch Sam Darnold. He's like Peyton Manning, who could run. Like that's what you said. You love Sam
was
Darnold.
my favorite quarterback in college too.
So you don't think he has? You don't think he has ability?
I think he has ability, but like
So I would trade a third rounder for him. Would you rather trade a third rounder for?
I saw enough from Mariota last year to be like, if he was on the.
What do you mean enough? He played like a half.
I know. That's all I need to see. This is.
You're like those people who like are like Heinicke's the future. You know how many people seriously comment on posts saying, "Dude, no, we're good. We're set with Heinicke," and I'm like, "You're dead serious."
If we got Mariota, we just have a stable of 3 QBs who go out there and get a dub. That's really what it is. And it's like, okay, one's hurt, you got to deal with Heinicke, then you got to deal with Mariota. You know, who are you going to deal with? These guys have wheels, you know?
Speaking of, what do you call it? Like a platoon, I guess they call that when you do like a platoon, like you use a quarterback in the first quarter, then you use another one in the second quarter or whatever. That actually, I didn't know this. When Tom Brady was at Michigan, him and Chad Henne were like a platoon quarterback. And like one would play
Chad Henne.
Yeah, it was. Not Chad Henne.
Brian Greasy.
No, not Chad. Not Chad Henne. Drew Henson.
Yeah.
Drew Henson would like start the first quarter. Tom Brady would come in for the second quarter. And then the coach, I'm blanking on his name, he would then choose one of those to play the second half. And they went like 6-0 one year doing that before I think they switched to like somebody else. I thought that was wild. I didn't know that. I was wondering why Tom Brady's stats were all weird for certain seasons. Like I was like, that doesn't look like a lot of touchdowns, but because he only played like half the games.
Like using a starter in baseball. I love that. More of that. Do it.
So yeah, I mean, the Washington football team's offered a first and a third. That's a hefty price tag. That's a little more than I would have offered for Stafford, but I guess they decided to take. It's kind of funny what the Lions did because they didn't take immediate help. The Washington football team were giving them immediate help in a first and a third this year, and they decided to take the first next year and a first after that. So interesting, but they're gonna still try to swing for it. And then the other option is, would you trade up for a quarterback?
No.
Because if you're already willing to do a first and a third for Stafford, well, then maybe you're willing to do a first and a third plus something else to move into the top 7 for around a Justin Fields.
I don't trust him anymore. I want an established quarterback.
Well,
or a guy who can run and throw on the run. Just give us a shot. That's all. I'm over these guys that are highly touted. We've busted on 2 quarterbacks in 10 years. I'm out on trading up or drafting anybody in any first round for quarterback. I'm out on that.
Would you actually inquire about, I mean, this is a dumb question because like, of course you would, but I guess, would you seriously inquire about Russell Wilson?
Yes, I would trade whatever they wanted for Russell Wilson because he's that good. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Do you know he's from Richmond. I knew that. But there was an interview. I was trying to find it I was going to do some like stupid meme with it if I could find it. But he said he still keeps tabs on at the time, the Redskins, because he grew up watching them. And so people are like, bring them home. That's everything. It's like, get them. Come on, bring them home. So, yeah, I don't think I would trade. I would do the same thing with Deshaun Watson. I would trade 3 first rounders because Wilson would give you that window of what you need. But okay. The next thing I was going to do is remember when I said I have a pitch for Wolves? I have it. I wanted to practice it before I did it and wasn't really ready. So next podcast, I will give you a pitch, and I started writing it. Full disclosure, I started writing my thoughts down, and I just like, oh, I can make this really good if I'm gonna like over dramatize this pretty good. And I just kept going, and it's about 5 minutes long, so that's why I would need to practice.
I'm ready to be convinced.
I don't think I'll turn you, but I think I'll do a good job of. I'll put on a good show, hopefully, with my words.
We'll see.
Okay, to the other teams before we get to the Bachelor recap of the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So Wizards continue to play no defense, and they suck. Bradley Beal is leading the league in scoring still. I think he had a career low. I think not career low, a season low definitely of 7 points against the Heat. I think on a back-to-back. So they beat him. They actually beat the Heat in Miami, and then they had a dud. And then Russell Westbrook continues to not play back-to-backs, which I get, but I don't get. I'm like, you're 6 and 17 or whatever. And Bradley Beal, so vote for him for the All-Star game. I think he leads all guards. Yes. All guards.
That's pretty cool.
What's really weird is that Russell Westbrook, who usually has like a whole army of fans with him, does not. I don't think he cracks the top 10 for guards. But yeah, so Bradley Beal leads, like, well deserved. Like he actually had to take a rest game, and he's never done that. So I don't know. I don't know, Joe, if you want to say anything about the Wizards.
Same old thing, man. Just they don't have a center. They can't play defense. Somebody said they only spend 10 minutes every practice doing closeouts. Seems like defense in today's NBA, by the way, is like just closing out to shooters and finding out who's switching where and being able to just close out on three-point shooters. Like, I feel like that's all it is, but
the frustrating thing,
don't have the athlete. They just can't do it.
The frustrating thing about NBA defense is that most NBA athlete or most NBA players are really good athletes, and if they just put in any effort, they would be good defenders, but they don't. And they pick and choose when they want to be good defenders. Because I've seen, like, for example, Denny Avdia is by far and away, in my opinion, the best defender on the team. He just has really good instincts for things. Like, there was one where he recovered on a back cut and stuck his hand out and intercepted the pass. Like, he just knows how to play defense. But he's not the best athlete, but he's still a good defender. I see guys like Westbrook and Beal who are better athletes than Denny Avdia getting blown by. And it just doesn't make sense to me. And it's also not just the physical ability. You have to actually know how to process things in front of you. So there's also maybe you should be drafting players that are smart defenders. But yeah, it's very frustrating to watch them play defense because they gave up like 130 points. It's
and
not.
By the way, Bertans, bad season, awful season. One of the worst seasons.
He's not. I mean, listen, I'm not going to say that was a bad signing because in hindsight, it's not a bad signing. It's somebody that any team like the Knicks would probably trade like a future first for Bertans right now. Or like teams would trade a future first for Bertans. But it's frustrating, you know? You pay this guy $20 million a year and it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, it's not $20 million a year at 16, but
that's $4 million.
It's
that Ole Miss math right there.
Yeah, well. It feels like 20.
Oh, speaking of, I was going to say, speaking of my alma mater, JMU, I saw some really funny stuff this weekend, or on Friday, basically a week ago. I'll get to that in a second. But, okay, so the Wizards, nothing really to report there other than sadness. The Nationals season is getting closer. Savannah, I don't know the date on the top of my head. Do you know the date for reporting?
Of what?
Player reporting, I should say.
I think like 10 days is pitcher catcher. So
I just love that sound. I love that saying when somebody says blank days until pitchers and catchers. Like, I just love that. Like, this just makes me realize baseball's around the corner. So yeah, season's getting closer. Projected win totals came out, and I think they had the Mets at like 96 or 7 wins.
Yeah.
Also, I thought I was listening to one of the radio stations, Oh, by the way, this came out of the left field. JP Finley and B Mitch got the midday slot, which is weird because I've never really listened to B Mitch on the radio, and then I'm used to JP Finley from the Redskins Talk
He's
podcast.
Good on the radio. He's good.
I have to get used to that. I have to get used to that duo. Like I was trying to listen to them and get in rhythm because you're so used to like the Junkies and Grant and Danny, and now it's like B Mitch and Finley, just a new duo that aren't usually together. So I've been trying to like accustom myself to their midday slot, but I think it was Grant and Danny saying, I think Grant just randomly goes, oh, by the way, can we talk about how Cookie Carrasco's in that deal and nobody talks about it? And I was like, yeah, Savannah definitely talks about it.
Let me tell you, I got thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, so I keep looking at that trade and be like, that was just a horrible trade for the Indians.
Horrible. God awful.
I think Mike Trout's annual salary is more than their payroll right now. I don't know if that's a joke or that's actually a fact. I'm not. It's probably close.
I think it's true, yeah. What's his annual salary right now?
It's probably roughly 40. He got that massive deal.
Yeah, not bad.
That was funny when Bryce Harper took that
salary.
Deal. When Bryce Harper took that deal strictly just to become the highest paid player ever or whatever, or the biggest contract given, and then literally like 7 days later, Mike Trout signs his deal. It's like I'm glad Bryce Harper and Scott Boras had that title for like a week.
Yeah, that's $246,000 a game, by the way. $40 million a year. It's not bad.
I'm sure you've seen this. When somebody took a picture of McCutcheon's pay stub. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Look, just Google like when you get a chance, McCutcheon pay stub, and it shows you like what his like at the time he was getting. This might have been before he got like his deal as a big deal, but it was wild. Like every 2 weeks he's getting paid this, but there's so much taken out because you get taxed wherever you're playing, which is kind of BS. But there's so much taken out. But then like even after all the taxes, he was making like $250K in 2 weeks. And somebody goes, man, like look at all those taxes being taken out. And I'm like, yeah, do you see the final amount still? Like it's wild. But yeah, I don't know who took that picture. I don't know if it was like an intern that thought it was funny. It was like on Reddit or something, but that's always a funny thing to look at. So I guess it's getting to the point where I'm not supposed to expect any other moves for the Nationals.
No, they feel like there are major gaps. Like they have their starting five, their pitcher rotation that's pretty set in stone. They got their outfielder. They have a catcher. Like
yeah,
the first baseman.
Yeah, they signed Avila, right? Avila. Yeah, so they have their catcher platoon. I'll use that word again. So they have that all set. I know Lester. I know they were concerned about Lester because they weren't announcing his signing for a while. It was like, hey guys, it's been reported, but you haven't posted anything. But then they finally also listened to his interview on the radio. Like such a good dude, just a great guy to have on the team, John Lester.
Yeah. So did you see Brad Hands? They did like a presser with him, and he said people were talking to him like, oh, welcome to DC. And he's like, oh, did you know that like in high school, I wore the number 8 because of Ovechkin?
Wow.
That's weird. Okay.
That's cool.
Isn't that cool? So I'm like, Brad Hand, welcome to the Nationals.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, so Nationals. So the Caps, they're finally back healthy. If we remember, they were on a COVID, just like the Wizards around the same time. They finally, I think, just got like Kuznetsov and Vrana off the COVID list, but then their teams that they were playing have COVID problems. So then now they don't play till tomorrow, which is so like today's Saturday. They play tomorrow, Sunday against the Penguins, I want to say. And not Ovechkin. Kuznetsov had one of the greatest quotes of all time when asked, were you scared when you were because apparently they had actual symptoms, like they were actually sick. And he was like, no, I'm not afraid of much. I'm from Russia. I thought that was the greatest thing ever. And this Kuznetsov, and we know Kuznetsov has had he's got busted with cocaine and stuff, but it's just like
really fun.
He's a dude. He is so freaking funny. I love him that he's on our team because he's one of the main reasons they won the cup. Like he probably should have won playoff MVP, the Conn Smythe. They kind of gave it to Obi. I was like, hey, let's give it to Obi.
Yeah.
But man, he has some golden quotes. Like the mic'd up with him and Chara on the ice when Chara's like first day at practice, when he's asking about his stick, and he's like, can I borrow your stick for the practice? Because Chara has a like custom made length stick because he's so tall. So Kuznetsov's like, I want to try your stick out. So, but yeah, saying I'm not afraid of anything because I'm from Russia is just amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that just reminds me of the Burt Kreisler. I don't know if you ever seen that comedian, Savannah. His like from Russia. He went to school or whatever story that is when he went to Russia. So good. Anyway, but yeah, they play tomorrow on Valentine's Day. And I don't know, does anybody have plans Valentine's Day? I know I'm stress-free with it. Joe is the only one that I possibly think may have to do something.
For what?
Joe, what are your Valentine's Day plans?
Yeah, what's your Valentine's Day?
Oh, I don't have any Valentine's Day plans. I was actually going to hit an Airbnb this weekend. Well, here's the thing. I was thinking about just starting this thing where I go to Airbnbs every weekend, and I explained that was potentially my plan this weekend to somebody, and I was like, I didn't want it to be like a super romantic idea. It was just something I thought about doing, but I didn't even realize Valentine's Day was this weekend. So I presented something, and it could have been portrayed as extremely romantic, but it wasn't. It wasn't meant to be. So I don't have any plans.
When you say Airbnb, you mean like with
somebody that yeah. And,
yeah, so how is that
it was
not
just an idea? Like, hey, let's go hang out here for a weekend. But I didn't realize
how
it was
is that
Valentine's Day.
Well, but in general, how is that not? I feel like that's only can be perceived one way as a romantic getaway.
It was never. It was more of a, oh my God, it's so gross out. Let's go chill somewhere for a weekend.
That's still. I mean, it's calling me crazy, Savannah. Is that not from a girl's perspective? Like, yeah, that's romantic. That's in the romantic.
The boy that I was chit-chatting with was like, why don't we just go to an Airbnb this weekend and be like, oh, he's proposing. Here we are in our relationship. Like, this is it. This is the weekend.
Man, man, he's really ahead of me in this relationship. Oh my God.
No.
Okay,
just,
so yeah.
Idea.
I just like how Joe's like, I didn't think it would come off as romantic.
Well, she didn't think it. She didn't think it would be, but. I mean, trust me, she's on the same page with me. It's she knows that I'm not romantic. Let's just say that.
Savannah, any plans?
No.
Are your plans just moving in?
Yeah, I did buy cookie dough, so I might eat some of that. Like, have such like a.
That sounds amazing.
I like the priorities there.
Yeah, like have cookie dough. I just got my couch, watch a movie, maybe cry a little bit. I don't know. What's he gonna do?
That sounds like a blast.
I just finished. I know I'm like the only one here that cares about this stuff. But I just finished I've never done this. It's been a while since I did this, but I binged all 23 of the Marvel movies.
Jesus, Mike.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it took a couple.
That's a lot of time. I can't sit there for more than 2 hours on movies anymore, by the way.
I mean, it was basically like one a night. If I started early enough and it was like maybe like 10:30 and the first one was done, I'd be like, I can fit another one in. And because they're all roughly 2 hours.
Have you guys seen The Little Things yet?
What's that?
It's the Denzel Washington movie on HBO Max.
Oh, with Jared Leto?
Yes. It's a thriller.
I hated that.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That reaction, I really thought Savannah was going to be like, I love it.
No. I had to like really go back and think about it. I really dislike that movie. I'm not the right person to judge it. I hate thrillers. I hate Jared Leto. So.
Yeah.
You hate Jared Leto? It was going
to be worse.
You see Jared Leto's new Joker? Right?
Yeah, he's creepy.
He's a method actor. Like, he's a legit method actor. So he apparently... I think the story was when he first got cast as the Joker to like be in character, he sent like a dead rat to like his co-workers.
I think he just like really got lucky where he's just this weird and somebody's like, he's such a method actor. He's just so into it. And he's like, people think this is acting? Like, oh, sweet. And he just keeps getting roles like that where he can be a complete weirdo, and everyone's like, classic Jared Leto.
Like, because he played in the Dallas Buyers Club. He played like a. Did he play like a?
Weirdo.
But he played like a. Not a. Either he was gay or he was like a trans person in that movie, and so they said on set like he stayed in character the whole time, and it was just like weird for people because they're like they want to just talk to Jared Leto, they don't want to talk to his character, but he stayed in character or on set on any movie. Apparently he just stays in character. But yeah, there's new pictures of him coming out for it because he's going to be in a more featured role in, this is kind of like nerdy movie talk, but the Justice League, which is DC Comics, that like DC and Marvel like compete against each other. Marvel's completely crushed them in anything, but Justice League came out, it wasn't that great, and so Zack Snyder, who got fired off the movie, has his own cut, and he's releasing that on HBO Max. Everybody's excited because it's going to be way better, and the Joker actually gets more shine in this movie with like Batman and stuff. So they redid Jared Leto's Joker, and he has like long hair. He's more creepy looking.
Wait, so Batman's DC?
Yeah.
And Superman's DC?
Yeah. So DC's like Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, Aquaman, The Flash.
Those people.
And Cyborg. Yeah. The other ones like Hulk, Iron Man, Spider-Man. They're all Marvel.
Wolverine.
What would be your superpower, guys? What do you think would be your go-to if you could choose?
Oh, shape-shifting. That would rock.
It's funny you say that because there's a shape-shifting element in the last Marvel movie.
So, what about you, Mike?
Shape-shifting, that's a good one.
I know, right?
It's also really creepy, though.
So, like, you could just turn into anything you wanted, basically, is what you're saying?
I think it would be like a shapeshifter plus like teleporter. Like I want to be able to shapeshift, but like be anywhere. Like, oh, I want to go be a chair in Tokyo right now.
So,
like, boom.
So like the movie Jumper.
And you're just going to sit there for hours as a chair.
Conversation.
Honestly, the ability to teleport's funky.
It's a good one.
But it's like all you have to have the rules like in the movies you saw them in, like those certain powers. Like for example, in Jumper with Hayden Christensen, he can teleport anywhere, but he has to see it. Like if he sees a picture, say of like the Santa Monica Pier, he can jump to the pier.
I don't want that. I just want to think of it and I'm there. What's your gonna be?
Something with I don't know. Like I was thinking maybe the ability to fly super fast, but have a heat shield around my face so that if I'm flying, I don't get any like things in my eyes. I don't have to wear goggles when I fly. Because when things go super fast, it's like they have a heat shield.
But why would you want to fly if you could teleport anywhere? Like, why would you still want the travel time that it takes to fly?
Well, I'm trying to fly through space. I'm trying to fly through space.
What's this? I just teleported to the moon. Well, it took
can I use a telescope if I have to see it? Can I use the telescope, and does that count for being able to see something? And because I would go to planets that we think are habitable, and I would tell the Earth, I would be the most useful superhero of all time. I would tell Earth, hey guys, we're good to go here. I just checked it out. I teleported to Andromeda Galaxy and checked out a couple of these planets. I think they're good to go.
So I was thinking of super speed, and there's like the character The Flash, obviously. And there's Quicksilver in the Marvel universe, and that whole thing is because it's a Marvel character, but also he's an X-Men too, which is Sony. And there's like they can use the name, but they can't be like in the same universe, like cinematic. It's some weird like contract dispute. But there's a great scene in X-Men where it shows like what happens when he decides to go fast, and everything around him like goes super slow. And he's able to like run up to people and like kind of like punch them, and then they slowly go like and then once he stops his speed thing, everything speeds up, and then everything that he just did happens. It's a trip. It's like a mind F. But I was thinking of what happens if you're super fast is everything just goes slow around you and you move at normal speed, or you're able to just process everything really fast. It's a mind trip when you really think of what happens if you had super speed. Also, speaking of super speed, You guys should watch The Boys.
It's
Yeah,
on my
maybe I'll
list.
do my best. Yeah.
I have
Um,
5 episodes left of Seinfeld, and then I can start. And
oh, I forgot you're doing a Seinfeld binge.
yeah,
How is it? How
That's
was
fun.
it? If you have 5
um,
left.
I just watched like the yada 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 episode, which I was like, oh, this is funny. I get it. Haha. And then I watched a horrible episode where they go to India for a wedding, and it's all told in like flashbacks. And like, this is the dumbest episode of television I've ever watched, and I've watched every episode of Real Housewives. So I don't know. I'm like real in and out on it.
But you've watched like what? How many seasons has it been?
I'm on season 9, episode 16.
Okay, so there's 9 total seasons.
Yeah.
So I need to do a Seinfeld binge because I've done the Friends binge. I've done every sitcom binge you probably can imagine. But I've seen so many Seinfeld episodes. I actually don't know how it ends, and I still have somehow to this day, not been spoiled on like how apparently the ending's really controversial. So I want to do that binge just to catch up on that.
Yeah, because I don't know the ending, so I am excited. So I'm finally in on it, but
All right. Well, speaking of TV, we'll get to The Bachelor in a second. One random thing though. So you know how I don't know if you're familiar with the Barstool thing that they do is called Rough and Rowdy, the fight kind of thing they promote. Do you know?
yes.
So okay.
Mhm.
So I don't know The Bachelor. They basically took over Rough and Rowdy from another company, and it's like a $10 pay per view. They just have people sign up and they beat the hell out of each other. Kind of entertaining because it's just like there's not really rules. It's just like you just start wailing, and there's 3 1-minute rounds. It's kind of a crazy concept, but there was a fight happening. My buddy came over from Long Beach, and we and his brother came over, and we watched it at our place. And I've never watched one of these before. It was just very entertaining with these guys that like for 3 minutes straight just start wailing on each other. But there's one guy, they mentioned James Madison University, and I'm looking in the ring and I'm like, why does that guy look familiar? It's because his name's Kyle, and I don't remember his last name, but his dorm room was right next to me freshman year. And he was in
No
Rough and
way.
Rowdy and got his ass whooped. But I
Kyle.
was like, why does that guy look so freaking familiar? And they said James Madison, but then I'm like, okay, maybe he just looks like, tall, like short blonde hair. But I was like, nah, that's the guy who lived next to me. And then I texted my buddy, not knowing, not saying that I was watching this. I just go, hey, who was the guy's name that lived next to us? Not Nick, because it was a guy named Nick and his roommate. It's like, not Nick. He's like, oh, Kyle, are you watching him fight right now? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, did he win? I'm like, nah. He got his ass kicked, but like, it's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was like a walk on the. I don't know if he actually played. He like walked onto the football team and then either got cut or just quit. But
Look at him now.
look at him now, just fighting for a couple $100. All right. Well, now we're going to The Bachelor. The Bachelor. We have things to talk about right off the bat. Wait, hold on. Nope, that's not it.
Couple people eliminated, huh? Since the last time we talked. Couple big names.
Couple big names. There has been a shakeup in the house.
Our queen has left us, right?
She's gone.
Katie's
Anna's
gone.
gone. MJ's another episode, but MJ's gone. Bye, Mean Girls. So over you guys.
Okay, I found
Katie.
I found my notes. Okay, so I got spoiled. I got spoiled by Katie. Well, first thing, let's start with like the elephant in the room. Rachel has some
Ooh, okay, yeah, let's start there.
allegations. Not allegations. I don't know what the word is. What am I trying to say? Basically, I was on Instagram and I follow on Instagram. I followed her immediately when the show started.
Call it dirt. Just call it dirt.
Yeah. So basically, I saw her post a long like paragraph on Instagram. It's really hard to read. I don't know why she didn't make it like a carousel where you could swipe to it or something. But anyway, it says something about racist actions. So I investigated, and apparently, you probably know if you watch the show, she at her sorority, I guess, went to a fraternity formal party, whatever you want to call it. Savannah, was it like a formal? I don't know what the proper term is.
It was. She went to like a formal event, but it was Old South themed.
Also,
she
now,
dressed like in dresses and went on a plantation.
So like girls were dressed like quote unquote like old school Southern belles, and guys were dressed like the one picture. I saw a picture of all the girls, and then I saw a picture. Oh, the picture of the one that she liked from like the year the next year's event, and the guy was dressed like a, I don't know, like a farmer, like a plantation farmer. I don't know what the proper term is. And so, yeah, if you know, plantations were where slaves worked in the South. I mean, plantations are they even still a thing? Are they still called plantations?
Yes, and in the South, like people get married on plantations and people host them for big events, and that's super controversial anyway.
Yeah.
But then this sorority fraternity decided to host an event there, but made it Old South themed, not just like, oh, we're gonna be on a plantation.
So naturally speaking, or naturally, because Rachel is my favorite, and I think a lot of people's favorite, I was like, I need to find out why she did this, because I want to, at the very least, not have to think crazy less of her, if not possible. I personally, and we're not going to spend too much time on this, I personally chalk it up to young and like, first of all, we were all in college at one point. So many people would throw theme parties just as an excuse to get drunk and have a good time. She went to school in the South. Apparently, that chapter of fraternity that they did this with, I'm taking this tweet as gospel right now, but apparently they had like a Robert E. Lee tie-in, and maybe they do stuff specifically to be racist. From her perspective, I literally just chalk it up. I'm not excusing her. I'm just saying, like, young, dumb, and drunk. Like, she probably had no idea. Like,
she was also probably asked to go, but at the same time, it's like, if I got asked to go to something like that, if I was a girl, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. But
well, here's the thing. I'm not going to pretend. I'm almost 30. I'm not going to pretend if I was in college. Like, I'm truly saying, I don't know if somebody asked me to go to a Old South theme party where guys dress up as farmers and girls get to dress up in those Southern Belle dresses. Like, I don't know if my first thought would be that's insensitive, because my first thought would be like, oh, it's just like a dress up party to go drink. I can't tell you if I would do that or not. Now it's very easy to say, yeah, that's insensitive. Like, that's bad.
Well, it depends where you're going. If they're going to a plantation, that's where the
well, I think I didn't know if it was like on a plantation or like plantation themed.
Yeah, it was on a plantation, and this is a party they've had for years. And as much as I want to say, like, oh, that's just young and dumb, like, you know better. Like, if no other people of color are going, like, you have to kind of maybe wonder, like,
right,
would we be doing this?
Yeah,
like,
I'm saying, like, people literally, like, I'm not proud of some of the theme titles. None of them were like racist, but like theme titles of parties that we went to. It was usually like, and ironically speaking, it's brought up in this episode as a word that a girl doesn't like, and the term hoe. It's like every party that people threw, it was like CEOs and business, that. So it was like, that's like, I'm not proud of being at this party, but I was like 20 and I wanted to just drink. And I was like, I'm told to dress up like this, so I'm going to this party. I never participated in something like this. And again, don't know what my reaction would be back in the day, but I know now that's very insensitive.
It's absolutely insensitive. Like, you do have to know better. So I know she can't go back and change the fact she went to the party. So I appreciate her statement to say that she's going to learn from it and do better. And hopefully she reaches out to the school and says, this is why we can't do stuff like this. And they stop parties like that. And if anyone listening is thinking about going to a party like that, it's a bad idea. It's insensitive. Don't do it. Anything like that, it's bad. Don't do it.
Yeah, those
never
probably
do
should.
That.
They
don't do it.
And again, if it's I don't even know what the correct term is. I know systemic and systematic have been thrown around when we're talking about like racism stuff, but like whatever the correct usage of that word is, if it's like a systemic thing in that fraternity where they're continuously doing these things with the intention of like, let's throw this party, because remember back in the day when we used to be able to do this, like, as white people, like, yeah, that's bad. It's like horrible. So like, I think from her perspective, I think it was like, got invited, excuse to dress up in one of those dresses.
Trying to fit in, goes to a college that's probably historically racist, and she hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many variances to what. Now, if you find out that she knew exactly what she was doing, and I don't know we'll ever figure that out, but I just, judging from how she is on the show, I've always said this, she seems the most like down to earth, just genuine person, especially in this last episode. Like, there's something I'll bring up when we talk about it. Like, I just can't see her being that, like, intentionally racist. If that's I don't buy that.
You would hope that she didn't know what she was doing, but like ignorance is still racism, even if you're ignorant to it. So like,
I chalk it up to ignorant. I don't know how old she was at the time, 21. I think she's 24. So what was it, 3 years ago?
Still old enough to know better. I understand that people are ignorant to things like this, and I'm not going to pretend I wasn't ignorant to things before you educate yourself. But now's the time to learn and grow from it. Educate yourself and know that like stuff like that's not okay. So mistakes like.
Yeah. And here's the thing, bringing this to light is probably good. I think a net good, but it's just people digging in people's past and trying to rip them. Like that whole culture is bad to me, even though you're bringing up something like the net good from this is, hey, stop throwing parties like that. But it's at the expense of somebody who now we think because of how Chris Harrison handled his thing, she probably won because she is the clear favorite at the time. We know the show's wrapped up. I know we'll wrap this up, but Matt James is now kind of getting dragged through the mud a little bit with some stuff that I just don't think is right to say. But it's gonna be a weird when it's done and say she wins. I think there's gonna be some kind of interview and she'll.
Absolutely. Well, but Chris Harrison's not going to be on after the final rose, which is when we would see Matt James and his winner talk for the first time. So I have a feeling that if it is Rachel, the winner, like this obviously will be a conversation and Chris Harrison will be moderating it. I have a feeling they'll have Rachel Lindsay, who is their first Black Bachelorette, or Tayshia, who's a Black Bachelorette. Like I have a feeling they will let a woman of color have the chair to kind of moderate the conversation. Yeah. Is my guess.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. But she did basically, it's a weird situation because it's a show that's airing. You don't know and you know it's wrapped up, and she has to now come out and apologize and clear the air, if you will. But that whole situation is weird. Now people are going to be watching with extra anticipation and stuff like that. So, all right. So let's get Spark Notes these 2 episodes. So yeah, we talked about people went home. I actually got spoiled with the Katie thing. That got spoiled for me a little bit because I was on Twitter and somebody during the airing of the episode, I wasn't watching live, especially first of all, I'm on the West Coast, so it can easily get spoiled for me. Somebody tweeted, "Make Katie the Bachelorette, you cowards." And in my head, I was like, okay, does that mean she went home, or is it just like somebody pumping Katie up just in general because she's awesome? And it then got spoiled how they set up the preview, the producers. It was like that moonlight shot of him shutting the door, and then before Katie's date, after somebody else went home, or he already had a one-on-one with somebody, and then I was like, well, it has to be Katie that's going home because it's a one-on-one. So I kind of put those puzzle pieces together. But so the first episode, Britt, escort rumor, Anna was sent home.
Bye, Anna.
But because of it was Matt just kind of doing this like cleanup, basically. He's talking to all these girls with the rumors. Anna tried her best to be sorry, and I was like, nah, you're probably cooked. Ryan bashing Victoria with Matt because Victoria apparently called her what I referenced this earlier, called her a hoe because of quote, you're a dancer. So I don't know what the exact quote was. And then Victoria did not get a rose. She didn't get sent home on the spot, which I thought she probably should have. But her action was way worse than Anna's to me. And Matt was like, I'll let you go to the rose ceremony. But
Mike, do you remember a few episodes of our podcast ago? You were like, has anyone whenever they don't get
Savannah,
the rose, they storm out?
Savannah, I was just about to bring that up. I was just about to be like, remember last episode when I asked, does anybody say screw you? Yeah. She would be the one. Oh, that was so good.
They let her go to the rose ceremony because they knew she was good for one last outburst.
But I always said this with Victoria. Every one of her lines seems like I just think she was a plant. Like she was never actually a contestant.
Yeah,
I think she was.
They paid her for each line.
I was like it was like she was a bad actress, and it's like, oh, I'm supposed to say this now. Yeah. Like she just awkwardly interjects herself in the conversation. And I'm like,
she makes someone cry, she gets an extra 5K and followers or something.
Incentive bonuses.
Yeah.
Like all her lines are what I kind of writing down. I was like, her lines are delivered with the same emotion, how she talks, like that. Her voice is very annoying, but like she's playing the highly delusional character in like a sketch. That's what she's doing. She's like, I'm perfect for Matt. Like, he's my king. I'm like, this bit is not funny anymore. Like, you're so going home.
So going home. So goodbye and good riddance, Victoria. You left us with one more. I feel sorry for you. Like, oh, that was a good one.
That was so good. So Matt was then taken. Matt mentioned Katie. Did he mention it to Victoria when he's like, well, Katie brought this up, and that's how people started. I think he said, yeah, because Katie brought this up to me, and then Victoria, you could see her face go like, Katie, and then I was like, oh, this is how Katie's gonna get dragged. I was like, this is it. This is how she. So Victoria, yeah, she said that it was out of context, but we all know she was probably going home after that. Why did I say? Oh, Rachel got the one-on-one. What was her one-on-one date again? Oh, her date. Shopping date. Okay, so this is what I was going to ask. I said Rachel one-on-one dash. I don't like, because I was like, yeah, this just she's going so far ahead in the leaderboard right now. Yeah, it was a shopping date. Savannah, what was your thoughts on that?
I think that is the weirdest date because one, Rachel knows Matt's not paying for the clothes. So obviously production is buying all that stuff, but you have to sit there and like thank Matt. Like, this is amazing. Like, yes, he did choose her to go on the date, but he's not buying that stuff for you. You're just modeling it.
And she gets to keep it.
So
he does get to keep it, which is huge. But
reminds me of the like the wedding picture date.
It's just weird.
The wedding picture date will always be above and beyond weird because it's like, that's just creepy. Like, especially if
I
you
would
don't end
never do that.
The shopping date, yeah, the shopping date is weird because it's not actually Matt like spoiling her. He technically spoiled her in the sense that he knows they're paying for it, and he's like, okay, who do I want to shower with gifts, essentially.
Right, I'm gonna give her red bottom shoes, which the whole side conversation. But
I was just about to say, is that like a thing? Because the girls when she came was like, oh my god, the bottoms of them red, and then they all freaked out. They're like, oh my god.
Yeah, because those shoes are like a month's rent. So
well, that's the thing. So this is what I was referencing about Katie being like a genuine person. Like, I believe her personality in the sense when she goes, the way she was laughing as she was saying it, she's like, I've never had shoes over $40. I felt that in my soul because, hold on. Oh god.
Like, I'm gonna drop.
These things, I've had these since 2011. Like, I am a simple shoe person. I don't care. And I was like, I love you more. And again, these are all in context of me loving her more before these allegations came out. So I just want to clear the air there, even though I think we all are on the same page with her. But yeah, I was just like, oh my God, like, she's perfect.
Like, yeah, and the date was, even though it was weird, I feel like they made the best of it. They had like moments. Matt James obviously really likes Rachel. Their whole date after the weird try-on clothes for me date, it was a fabulous one-on-one.
And yeah, and I just, every time they talk to each other, it seems the most normal Matt sounds when he's talking to Rachel, in my opinion. Other than that, he sounds like a weird, just very meh with everybody else to me. Like maybe Piper also kind of, Piper's second to me.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm kind of parodying what Grant Paulson has said because he likes talking about The Bachelor. It is literally like, I think he described it as Rachel, Piper, in a Grand Canyon sized gap, and then everybody else. But so Savannah, you texted during, I think, this episode and said your tally of quote unquote like I'm falling in love with you kind of thing. Mm-hmm. What was that again?
So Rachel on their date said that she was falling in love with Matt, and Matt said back, I'm falling in love with you.
Wait,
too.
did he say that, or did he say I feel the same way?
He said both things, but he said
I didn't hear the love.
Yeah, there was a multiple choice. Matt checked off 2 of the like possible answers of multiple.
That I feel the same way. I'm also falling in love with you.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
And then he went in for the. No.
It's like they told it's like they told all the girls to say that episode because it seemed like every one-on-one time he got with anybody, they were like, I'm like falling. I don't know if they always said falling in love, but like they're starting to fall. Like have catch feelings or whatever. And he didn't say anything back to either of them. They all were like, he just said, it's like good to hear or something like that. He never said, I feel the same way with anybody else, really.
Right.
But I said Rachel says she's fallen in love with him. Matt says feels the same way. And then I said, yeah, he definitely kisses with his eyes open. It's so creepy. I didn't notice it when you guys were talking about it the first time. I kind of just like went with the conversation, but then I actually tried to concentrate on it. I was like, oh my God, he definitely does.
So funny story behind that. So on Watch What Happens Live, which is like a Bravo TV show by Andy Cutwin. I love that show. Matt James was on it and he was talking about his first kiss. And he was like, oh, my first kiss, I snuck out of a movie theater to make out with this girl, but I bit her lips so hard that she started to bleed like all down her. And I didn't realize because I was kissing with my eyes closed. He's like, so I feel like I'm like traumatized from that moment. And that's why I kiss with my eyes open. Because I'm
so we actually admitted it? Like, yeah. Oh my God.
Because I was like, he has to know that he's staring at these girls.
He's like, I'm doing it subconsciously, but I like know that I did that, and I know I've been afraid to do that like ever since.
I have a couple concerns about his first kiss. First of all, he snuck out of a movie theater. Like, don't you usually do it in the movie theater?
Not him.
Maybe.
But first kiss, like, what were you going for with a bite? Like your first kiss, you just go all bite action.
We saw it in movies and.
Yeah, he said that's hot. I'm gonna bite her lip.
It's like they saw a scene in the movie and they're like, let's go try that. Like,
that thing? Yeah, let's go.
That is super cringe.
What the hell? Okay. So then they go on a farm.
A lot though. I mean, honestly, it does explain a lot.
It does. I was like, okay, you're not so weird.
And that's why he's going in for the kiss so much, by the way. It's because he's still trying to get practice to not bite these girls' lips off. So he's continuously staring.
So, then the farm date happens where they just basically do farm work. And this is where it's like the WWE to me. It's like they need to bring in a new villain. So they're like, Jasenia, come off the top rope and just annihilate MJ. Like that's how this happened to me. Because you could see it building with how Jasenia was talking crap about MJ during the date, saying like she was, I don't know what she was saying. I forget.
It was trying too hard.
Trying too hard to like impress. So then MJ like sees, I think they saw Piper randomly like making out with Matt. That was like really a weird cut in. It was just like kind of like a behind the scenes type thing. Cause she was doing her like interview with the camera and he just randomly walked up to her and kissed her. I was like, that's kind of, I was like, that's when everybody was like, oh, she probably is like up here now. Like,
yeah,
he just decided to go kiss her. MJ, so Jasenia just decides to go in on MJ, like full blown. And then what did she say? What I'm blanking. What happened to get to the point where they had to talk to each other?
So during their like post-date like conversation, Matt and Jasenia were talking and Jasenia was like, yeah, like you got rid of all the other mean girls, but like MJ was the one that actually started the rookies versus veterans.
Oh, like JV versus varsity. Okay.
Yeah, that was it. He's like, she started that and she's still here. So Matt was like, what? MJ?
And then then they got a card that said MJ Jasenia, we need to talk, or whatever that card said. The music build up when MJ and Jasenia were walking to their, like, that was so epic. It was like the music that's played in like Avengers. Like it's like a build up to an action movie. And
like
then
a Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah, it's like Mission Impossible. It's like dun 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 dun. Anyway, MJ. So they sit down and they go back and forth, blah blah blah. And Jasenia calls her Meredith, which I thought was so like such a good shot. Like
good,
just like jab jab jab, uppercut with the actual name usage. And yeah, MJ, has this weird saying like peace and harmony or whatever the hell she says. I didn't mind MJ. Like I didn't consider her like a mean girl. Like she did do the whole varsity versus JV, but like I didn't like see her as like a mean girl. Like she didn't start a rumor about escort, or like she wasn't like Victoria. So
She was like the lesser of the evils, but she was definitely up there. Like if, on like the Mean Girls scale, like Victoria was Regina George, Anna was Gretchen Wieners, and like whatever the other one's name is, of course I can't think of. Like the one that's like kind of dumb but is still there, like definitely not nice.
Yeah.
That's MJ.
Gretchen,
like,
is it Gretchen?
You don't want to mess with MJ. Like
Gretchen,
MJ will roast you if you let her.
yes.
If you give her a reason to.
Karen, that's her name. Karen, she puts the backwards K. Like that's MJ, where you're just like, oh, sweetheart, you're still not nice, but like you're not Victoria.
Yeah. So yeah, just send you just like, it seems like they either like say, hey, like try to send MJ home, like do your best. And I can't tell if I like Jasenia after that. I think she just kind of just got her way, and I don't feel anything for Jasenia, so I don't have any feeling towards that situation. I kind of liked MJ, but she was feisty.
It's time to go.
She definitely would be the one, like she would actually, I feel like she had to be held back from actually fighting somebody.
Oh, big
like
time.
Physically. Let's see. Oh, that's what I was going to ask, though. I have this actually written down. In the experience, have there been any like girl fights, like straight up, like have there been any?
I don't remember any. I know guys have like definitely fought each other. I don't think any girls have. They've definitely screamed at each other, but I don't think it ever got physical.
Yeah, I've always wondered that because I was like, oh, one of these girls is gonna like just flip on Victoria. Like I just could see it. I have something written down that I can't. I said, was this all acted out? Maybe besides, the Heather part of this. So it just seems like, do you think Chris Harrison knew that was happening, or did they like keep him out of the loop and like let him figure it out?
Part of me feels like they left him out of the loop, but the other part of me thinks that like there's no way Chris Harrison remembers all these people from Bachelor Nation. Heather was on like 2 seasons ago. Granted, she was the Never Been Kissed girl, so she had a storyline, but she was gone after like episode 3. There's no way that he's like, Heather Martin's here.
Yeah.
I know exactly who that is. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And Chris doesn't even know like because he didn't even know, I guess, the backstory with like Matt kind of knowing her had to be like, yeah. So I just don't know if it was like real reality TV. And also he walked down that big driveway. It's like, dude, why don't you just take a car?
I'm not buying it. Like they told Chris, stand there. Heather's about to drive up. Like fluff your hair. Make sure you look good because this is your moment to go. Heather Martin, what the bleep is she doing here? Like, okay, Chris, you swore. Woo-hoo.
Okay. So I always have these random notes that Matt always says to these girls on their one-on-ones that I've had my eyes on her since the first night. Like it's, first of all, of course you did. Like that's inherent thought. Like if you liked them from the first night, you had your eyes on them. I think you said that with like Piper, like the most recent one. She said she's fallen in love. He doesn't say it back necessarily, but he gives her a rose. They have the private concert with Temecula Road, who they sounded great, by the way. Just awkward. I would never want to dance with somebody just alone with a band playing. I'd be awkward for the band. Like it's like you'd have to sing just to me.
You know, they do it every season. It's so weird.
What was Piper's one-on-one date again?
The carnival.
I feel like I zoned out during that whole thing. I just remember the dinner part of it. Serena P, she says, I think she's falling for him. Yep. Michelle gets the rose. Heather is now on the scene. But like she comes on the scene and like it's like intercuts. It's like to her COVID situation and them trying to like make her seem like a normal person. She seems like a weird dork. Like that's like she definitely is just weird. Matt's friend, is it Tyler?
Tyler C.
Okay. That guy is an airhead.
Well, okay, so I just don't think you know Tyler. Like I know Tyler. Yeah. He was on Hannah Brown's season and he
stole the show, right?
Yeah. I was going to say something else, but I've decided not to say that on the podcast.
Wait, no. What?
Is. I'm everything of
he has every girl's heart.
He just seems like such an airhead, and maybe I wouldn't say that if I knew more about him, but he just has nothing to say of substance. Like when he was talking to Matt, I was like, Matt, do you really trust this guy? Like, do you trust his opinion? Like, he just doesn't seem like he actually is speaking words to you. He just, but when Matt goes, oh, I wish I had a conversation with Tyler before every date. I'm like, really? Do you want this advice? And then, so Matt or Tyler was part of the date with Katie. They got to basically do a punked episode, which I thought was funny, but nothing was shown that was actually really funny. I want to know like what possibly was, but I didn't have a good feeling about the date from the start. I was like, this is a weird, like throwing you a bone type thing. And also with the thing I said I was spoiled with, I was like, she's going home.
It was a very date. Like that's like something fun to do with your friend. Like, oh, we're going to prank Tyler. Like that's not romantic. I'm not giving you a private carnival. I'm not taking you shopping. Like we're going to go sit behind a hidden camera.
And then the other thing with her, when they were on the date part of the date, I guess I should say like dinner part, when she was talking to him, he had like a stone look on his face, like giving no reaction. And I was like, oh, he's definitely just thinking, I got to tell you to go home. So I don't know. Katie's gone, but now people are saying she should be the Bachelorette.
Rumor has it she is.
I don't know how I feel like she's, I don't know. I can't see her as the Bachelorette. I see her just as like a contestant, not the person. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, she's 29, so she's at least like the most age appropriate out of like some of these other women who are like Kit's 21. Like,
yeah, I don't get how Kit's even in the contention right now. Like,
I don't know if you saw my Twitter fight with Grant about it, but I'm pissed that Kit is still around.
Yeah, because she had a one-on-one too, right?
Yeah, she's 21 years old. Like, relax. Whatever. But she's not gonna be the next Bachelorette. Katie's almost 30. She was like well liked by people. She seems to have a good head on her shoulders. She's funny. She's sex positive. Like, what more could you ask for? She seems very non-problematic, and that's exactly what Bachelor Nation needs right now. Someone that is just gonna be like great.
I can only imagine when she's standing there waiting for dudes to come out of the limo, what ideas guys would have to get on her good side from the get-go. I can't even think. I mean, I feel like everybody's going to bring a sex toy.
Oh, every last one of them was going to have a sex toy.
I got this. You know, you said you like this. Here, I have it.
Like, remember this? Remember when you had this?
I would think about, honestly, somehow trying to recreate her entrance, but like not make it obvious. I don't know what I'd do, but not because you can't like have something behind your back. She's going to be like, I know what you're doing. Like, it has to be something funny. So...
Well, Joe and I are going to nominate you for Katie's season so that you can go on. So start planning.
I don't think I could ever go on. I seriously would never be able to do that.
That's what you say now. Wait until you have 100,000 Instagram followers.
Yeah, he's going to love it.
I don't do it for the followers. But follow me. Anyway. Yeah, so Katie went home.
And the last thing was Heather walking into the rose ceremony.
Yeah. I think it was a huge mistake on Matt's part by sending Katie home. But, you know, what's up, Katie? Like, probably should go give her a follow. Also, you know how we were talking about, I remember when I said I followed Rachel and I saw how many followers she had. So that was back when the show started, I want to say, whenever that was. She had 50,000 at that time. So I was a little late on following her just in general. She is now, I think, upwards of almost 500,000, if I saw that correctly.
That's nuts.
That's crazy. So, yeah, Heather to me is just like Bennett coming back, honestly. Like when he came back, it's nothing to see here. She'll be in and out of this season.
Yeah, I don't think she'll make it past this episode.
Also the cocktail party part, it's really just a kissing booth for Matt. I mean, he just sits down with him and he knows he's just going to make out with every single one.
That's what it always is, though, huh?
Yeah, but he's like so quick with it. He's like, I can't wait to just like practice my kissing on these 10 girls. That's what he does. Yeah, the Heather intro was kind of like super cringe, especially when she walked in on, who did she walk in on?
Piper.
It was Piper who lost her S one. But then the laugh that Matt gave was so cringe. It was like the fakest nervous laugh. And then Piper's face is like, what the F is going on? So
it's funny.
Yeah. And then Piper's reaction when she came out to the girls and was like, what the, and then because all the girls already knew like something weird happened. So yeah, that's how it ends. I forget what they kind of showed, like what kind of comes of things. It's mainly just like reacting to Heather. I think it was kind of like that's the preview.
Yep.
Anyway, so do we have like power rankings?
It really is Rachel's definitely going to win. Piper's going to be runner up. Piper's going to get her heart broken, and then Michelle will be third place, and Bree.
Bree's been quiet since her initial.
I'm gonna go with Bree.
I'm
gonna throw it off the wall winner. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'd be shocked if it wasn't Rachel. I mean, there might be. I don't know how they're gonna. I don't know how she doesn't win at this point. Something has to like. Those allegations should have came out if they came out like mid-show, like he somehow gets word of it, but they didn't. So, yeah, I don't have I basically it's Rachel and Piper, and then everybody else. I still don't get how the Kit's on the show. Like, I don't get how Matt can even entertain the thought of marrying a 21-year-old.
So this is what I told Grant. Grant Paulson tweeted like his power rankings after the episode. He had Kit at number 4. I was like, that is absurd that you have Kit that high. He's like, oh, did you not see their one-on-one? I was like, yeah, they went to his house, they cooked, they couldn't eat it because they're on TV, and then they made out for a little bit. That's not a date.
Yeah.
The only reason Kit is still around is because her mom is famous.
Yeah, and she used that as like a
oh, woe is me. I grew up in the public eye.
I was like, well, first of all, not public enough because I have no idea who the hell you are. But
all my dresses for the show were paid for because my mom's a fashion designer. Yeah, Kit, relax.
Yeah, it wasn't too much of it was like when Victoria was trying to her woe is me. It's like, I'm not sorry. You're 21. You're 21.
21.
You just became legal to drink.
That's like the youngest you can be on this show is 21. So the first chance she got, she's like, I gotta go on this TV show.
Yeah, how does that process work of picking like them? Like that just seems.
You can either submit yourself or have someone nominate you. You fill out this form of like what you're looking for, pictures of yourself, your Instagram handle, your Twitter handle, what you do for a living, and then they have people that sort through all of it and think who might make good TV. They'll reach out to you and say, do you want to come for an audition or a meeting or whatever? Meet with producers, and they find you interesting enough. There you are. You're on the show.
Wow.
So basically, if you, I'm not interested in going on. I was just curious if you nominated me, like somebody could, in theory, reach out to me without me knowing that somebody nominated me.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Hey, we came across your profile or whatever. We think you might be a good match for
freaking
the
hilarious.
Bachelor."
I'd take the meet and greet just for shits and giggles. But
I would force you to take the meet and greet and wear a GoPro so that I could know what they're going to ask you. I got to be prepped and ready for like 5 years from now.
I'll put my cell phone in my pocket right here with the camera facing the other way.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that seems that was a very long episode, but it was episode 20, so it's probably worth it. Yeah. So, like I said, DC Sports XP on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube now.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And any last words?
Watch out for our giveaway. That's going to be awesome. The cards are so cool.
Check out those cards.
Yep. And that's about it.
Yeah. So yeah, cards going to be given away. I have a couple other concepts for cards in the works. I just want to get these given away before I do that. So, all right. Well, with that said, this is the DCXP podcast. I'm Mike. That's Savannah. That's Joe. And we'll see you for episode 21, where we'll be drinking the whole time. No, I'm just kidding.